to go live on the moon with a 12-inch dobsonian telescope. All right, so bear with me here. I'm going to flip the camera around, and hopefully we've got focus. Let's go. Okay. Point at the moon here. All right. Looks like the focus is on. Let's zoom in. There. Oh, here, I'll adjust the focus here on the telescope itself. There we go. So I am almost on the road here in Halifax, and we're lucky we got these driveways shoveled in time because it is super icy out here. So we had that big ice storm yesterday, and or snow, but it got really cold, and so effectively everything turned to ice. Neighbor's looking at me weird. What are you doing out there with that water tank on the side of the road? It's not a water tank. It's a telescope. Barry? Yeah, check it out. We can go. This is a 12-inch scope, so we can go pretty far in. We're lucky when we're using YouTube. It doesn't switch cameras on us. Here. I believe that's the Altai range there. I don't have my moon book with me. I don't tend to have all these memorized. I just have nicknames for all the stuff instead of memorizing them. So I know that crater that the range ends in starts with P. There's the Dumbbell craters right here. And go along the Terminator. See if there's anything else I recognize by heart. Boop. And it's out of focus. YouTube must have some autofocus as well in their app. Let me just adjust it with the focus wheel. Oh, wow. Maybe if I tap the screen, I'll zoom out of it. Seems like I lost focus for like no good reason there. There we go. So because this is a Newtonian, we've got, this is an inverted view. So, or more accurately, a 180-degree rotation. There's the Marsh of Sleep. That's a pretty cool area of the moon. I always find that part really pretty. So I'll zoom in on that. Let's see if we can hold it there. Yeah. Marsh of Sleep. A really cool feature where you can definitely see, I'm guessing lava hit that that crater on the left of that discolored section there. And it sort of poured out onto the Maria. And that's why you have the variation in color there. But I don't know for sure. It's neat with this telescope. You can definitely see all the wrinkle ridges in the, and I'm just guiding this by hand, so that's why it's so shaky. Where, you know, some sort of, not tectonic, but some sort of force sort of pushed the lava into wrinkles there on the surface a long time ago. Craters in the middle of that, and I do think the Picard that one of those is named after. The craters in the middle of that sea is where they got Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek. He's named after the person that crater is named after. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna stop. Here, if I let go, it should calm down. There we go. And that movement there is just the Earth's rotation, which is neat. Like the more you zoom in, the more obvious it is. See how far we can zoom in with YouTube. Not too bad. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, so it looks like the resolution here has got to be like, each pixel is probably about a kilometer. Maybe even less than a kilometer. So when I did the math on the 4-inch scope, that was 1.9 kilometer resolution on the lunar surface. So this is 12 inches, so. Wow, look at that. There's the Dumbbell up close for you. Here, let me let go so we can sort of let that come into view there. Oop, not quite. I'm on a slope here because I'm at the very end of a driveway. So sort of just pointing at a gap between the trees. All the cars driving by wondering what the heck I'm doing. But the atmosphere is definitely Definitely a little wavy there. I was hoping that it would drift over the dumbbell craters. There they are. I think the one that's attached to the dumbbell craters there is Katrina. It's one of the craters named after women. And then one of them, just going from memory, Theophilus, something like that. I am not good with the Latin names. There's the limb of the moon, and in here, super dim around this area, is the Gang of Four. So if it were just a thin crescent moon. Oh, and there's that's the, oh gosh, what's that called? You can see the valley right there. Hey, Mac. Welcome. Oh, Mac, are you going to the Analog Astronaut Conference? Because Cyan's got her in telescope, and so we were thinking of doing a stargazing event. Yeah, I think that's called, again, I have no logbooks with me at all. The Rita Valley or something, right? That gash down the center there. And I forget if that's caused by a lava channel. Some of these valleys are like, some of the really small ones anyway, are from like giant asteroids skimming the surface at really low angles. And then others are, lava flows or underground lava tubes that caved in, stuff like that. Oh, let's scoot over to the Marsh of Sleep again. I always want to say Marsh of Sheep, but anyway. Yeah, it is really cold out here, though. I mean, day before last, it was 9 Celsius, so like 50-something Fahrenheit. Oh, awesome. You'll be there. I'll be there. I haven't bought my plane tickets yet, but we'll figure it out. So Mac and I were frequent, I don't know, visitors, whatever you call it, participants in the Humans to Mars happy hours on Tuesday nights, which I think have sort of ended at the beginning of the summer. There was a bit of a debacle. I think that's Atlas and Hercules there in the middle. Again, just going from memory here. Oh, that's the Serpentine Ridge right there. Dumbbell craters. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I can't wait until that happy hour's back. That was so much fun. Yeah, we might be able to see the clock hands here. Okay, I think that's it. Again, you really want a greater sun angle here to see them, but there's ridges inside that crater in the center there. 2 of them, one's longer than the others, so I nicknamed those the clock hands. Really helps have nicknames for everything. And then when we wrote 50 Things to See on the Moon, the editor, for anything that didn't have a nickname, she was like, you really need to make up a nickname, just so that, it would help you remember them. And so some of them were a bit of a stretch, but Aiden, this is a 12-inch dobsonian at f4. And then the eyepiece is just one of those Celestron zoom eyepieces. So this is set to the lowest magnification setting, if you can believe that. Now, although the iPhone is digitally zoomed in as much as Facebook would let me. But, yeah. We've got Jupiter too, but the challenge is as soon as you leave the moon, oh, there's actually clouds, a little bit of clouds in front of the moon right now. Yeah, the pickle crater. Everyone loves the pickle crater. Yeah, as soon as you leave the moon, it's really hard to get focus on the planet. Plus, the planet is way overexposed, and you really want to use software like Nightcap or something to tone down the exposure. What is that? It can't be Venus. Maybe I will scoot over to that. I don't know if that's Saturn. I mean, it's still almost sunset here. That's really low on the horizon, though. Oh, I gotta zoom all the way out. Let's see if I can pick that up between the trees. Oh, yeah, it is Saturn. Look at that. Let's see if we can get it in focus. Hey, there's a treat. Okay, without dropping my mittens. I think I saw a Titan there for a second too. Can we get it in focus though? That is only like 3 degrees off the horizon here. Yeah, and I can see the moon Titan too. Awesome. Yeah, it is just way too much atmospheric distortion to get a sharp image. I didn't collimate either, so you're probably getting chromatic aberration from that. There we go. Not bad. Oh, we're gonna go. Bye. Earth's rotation there. Oh, I think I lost it. Oh, it's back. I'm impressed. It is so low on the horizon. I mean, usually Saturn is like a summer target this decade at least. Yeah, that is rough. It's like just like 3 degrees above one of the neighbor's chimneys down the street. And YouTube's autofocus is fighting me. Actually, that's pretty good. Look at that. Not bad. Through the soup. Maybe we can skip up to Jupiter here. Let's zoom out on the phone. Go up to Jupiter, and I'm just using a Telrad to aim. We got it there? Yeah. Out of focus, of course. Okay, let's try. A lot of internal reflections here because there's a giant street lamp right over my head. All right. Can we get it in focus? Yeah, the thing it's not going to let me do, though, is tone down the brightness. So sort of stuck with that. I'm in the road with the telescope here. Guy drive by in a Subaru, like, what's going on? Now, where's Callisto? That's a background star. Callisto must be behind it. Or one of those is Callisto and another one's behind it. Anyway, that's awesome. Back to the moon here. Oh man, I put my glove on. Freezing. Oh, there's Gutenberg. iPhone has a Pro mode in the camera app. So I've seen the Pro features. I didn't know it was a mode. Okay, let's see if we can zoom in on Gutenberg here. Yeah.
That's sick. That is so cool.
Is that cool? Yeah, I'm live streaming to YouTube right now.
That's
So,
awesome.
is that neat?
Jesus, that's a huge.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So it's 12-inch mirror,
Nice.
and then so it's basically like an f4 1500 millimeter
That is so
lens.
cool.
And so this is the least. I'm using the least amount of magnification I can because it wants to really zoom in there. Learn to stargaze is the YouTube channel.
I'm gonna follow you on YouTube.
For sure. Well, now you're on the video. There's there's 8 people watching right now, but over the course, after it's posted, you'll probably get a couple hundred. Kind of fun.
Haha. Yes, it's a 10 to 1 now.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
is the viewing? It's a nice clear night for it.
It is super clear. Yeah, I might get the, actually I will get the astrophotography scope out in a little bit and point it at something. Haven't really got a target picked out. I need something either directly overhead or directly south. So this year I've done the heart and the soul and the rosette and Orion and the horsehead so far.
Robert before.
Right here, I'm live streaming to YouTube here. Say hi to 11 people.
Oh, okay.
So we're just,
Hello. Hello.
here we are, we're looking at the moon.
Look at that.
And
Look at the craters.
so this is a 24 millimeter eyepiece, which is about the least amount of magnification that you want to have. So like, get some serious juice on there.
That's a much bigger telescope than the last time I saw it.
Normal, yeah, this one's a bit of a pain to get out of the garage, so
Yeah.
you don't see it as much. It's also like in the city, the size of the telescope doesn't matter as much for looking at deep sky objects, so you might as well just use something smaller.
Okay.
Because the size of the telescope doesn't really cut through light pollution any better.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi, YouTube people. So you're from all around the world, are you?
You probably are.
Are they local?
Yeah,
Halifax?
comment, hey, 10 people that are watching, comment where you're from. We got just people doing some sidewalk astronomy here. People walking by, and they can, this is a pretty big screen.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Florida.
Oh, cool.
Hi, random walkers by.
Right? Hello.
Yeah. Although you're Robert.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm
and,
Matt.
And Matt, yeah.
And for those
got-
wondering, especially those in Florida, it's what, about 0 here?
0 Fahrenheit.
0 Celsius, yeah.
I feel like is it like -5 or something?
Oh, is it?
It's -5.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
is
we're
it?
like 23 degrees here. We got, oh yeah, and Rob and Lisa from New Jersey.
Oh, hello.
Hey, Robert and Matt.
What a nice bunch,
They are, yeah. Stargazers are a great bunch.
right? Look
Yeah.
at that. Doesn't that sound, look at these
Oh, we got
craters.
Belgium.
Belgium,
Yeah,
wow.
this is the Altai Scarp here, and that ends in a crater. I always want to call it Piccadilly, something like that. Yeah, come take a look. Yeah, we're just doing a live stream to YouTube, so come say hi to
Hello?
people.
It's
There's,
pointing at the moon right now.
yeah, so there's 10.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we got 10 people watching now, but usually a couple hundred will watch the replay.
That is so cool. That is beautiful.
Someone says it's
saw
79 degrees here.
We
They're
saw
in
this, and we said
Florida.
we have to cross the street and just ask them if this is a fancy garbage can.
Yeah, a lot of people think
or
it's
a cannon, yeah.
they think it's a water heater. Yeah, there's lots. I mean, this is one of the best nights to see the moon. Like, there's a lot of really interesting details.
May I ask may I ask a layman question?
Yeah.
I think I already know the answer because it travels so fast. But
Oop.
if the ISS was passing overhead, the International Space Station,
Yeah.
is there any way you could point that and sort of get a glimpse of it on your phone?
I mean,
through the
this telescope could take a picture of an astronaut on a spacewalk.
Wow.
You know,
No, but
they'd
I
be,
mean,
they'd
could
be
you keep
about
up-
4 pixels. Yeah.
You could keep up with it going that
Oh, yeah.
fast across this really?
Yeah. Now you'd see it. It'd look as a little dot, like bouncing all over the place in here. But then what you would do is record a video,
Oh,
and you
okay.
put it on the computer,
That
and
composite thing,
you
right?
get a bunch. You take a bunch of the frames and turn them into. You can't take all the frames and turn them into one picture and stack them,
Okay.
because the space station rotates as it goes overhead.
I myself have a question as well. What does a star actually look like up close?
What it's so stars are all pinpoints of light from Earth.
Yeah.
You need a telescope with a diameter of like 100 feet to be able to resolve a star into something round.
So I reckon you wouldn't be able to see it with something like this still, right?
Well, you can see tons of stars. They're just points. So you look at usually star fields or star clusters, or yeah, no, I mean, and you see the different colors of stars. Yeah, I mean, there would be lots of stars up tonight. The brightest one right now is Betelgeuse and behind the houses, and then Cirrus below that, super bright, and they're beautiful in the scope. Yeah. So
Do you mind if I take a picture of your phone screen to see what it's picking up?
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if
Absolutely.
you've ever I mean, you have quite the optics here, but like any camera I've ever had, like, oh, I want to take a picture of the moon, looks so great tonight, and it just never looks good. You know that feeling? And like this
Yeah.
is like you don't. This is like you can really see the moon.
Get yourself a
Yeah,
Nikon
this is-
P900.
We're gonna take a bye, you two. Bye, you guys.
Hey, have a great night.
Yeah,
Take
you
care.
too.
Man, this is so you own this thing? Like this
Yeah,
is
this
your
this
telescope.
Oh, I'm getting fuzzy there. Yeah, this scope was only I think I paid $629 for it 10 years ago. There's no computers in the Dobsonians at all, right? So it's if you come around here and look inside, you can just see you're basically just paying for the mirror
Okay.
and a tin can to hold it.
And then you have like your camera down there.
There's no camera. It's just the iPhone.
It's literally your.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
you have a
all
mirror.
linked up to your phone.
You have a mirror down there. That's called the primary mirror, and then this is called the secondary mirror, and this is called the secondary mirror assembly, and you can't see it because it's so insanely out of focus,
Wow.
right? And so this is just a flat mirror right here, and so it's spitting light up into an eyepiece,
Yeah.
and the eyepiece basically is just a lens that puts the image back into an image. So you can use it without the eyepiece at all if you're doing what's called, I guess, a projection. So if you had the camera chip, and you put a DSLR and you take the lens off and just expose the chip. So that's one way to take photos with it.
Wow.
And so if I wanted to take a picture of an astronaut on a spacewalk, that's usually what I would do.
And
Is
have you done that too?
I'd take a picture of the space station. And I was actually I was on a flight once, and a guy's like, "Yeah, I build components for the space station." I'm like, "Oh, I've taken pictures of the space station."
What a connection.
And he actually could see like the part that he had like worked on
Oh.
in my picture. Yeah,
How
So-
connected did you feel when you like? What a coincidence! It's so crazy.
it was neat.
It is so cool, man.
Yeah, I mean the space industry's huge. There's like hundreds of thousands or like a million people in the industry, so it's like
The chances of that are bizarre. And on a
I
flight-
think they're pretty high. Yeah, I've met
Oh,
a bunch
you
of
know
like
what?
space people
when
on.
when you put it like that, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense too.
I met
I guess just like the one part, like to be able to point out.
Oh,
the parts,
yeah.
like that little thing.
It was
that's
so cool. Yeah, and then I met a guy named Dr. Angerhausen.
Cool.
And this was as soon as I used to be an accountant, and then I quit my job to do this full time. And on my flight home, because I moved from California back here,
Oh, cool.
on the flight, I sat beside Dr. Angerhausen, just completely randomly, who's just a guy, giant headphones, like covered in stickers and like, and
character.
but he runs Sophia, which is a giant telescope that they ride around the back of a 747.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. Wow, that is incredible.
So someone says, that's how I do my streams. Hook my Canon M50 up to an adapter and plug it in where the eye goes. Yeah. So you don't need an eyepiece. You don't need anything but these two mirrors here.
Wow.
In fact, you can also, if you could take this out, you can put a camera chip here,
Yeah.
and that's it. You just have that mirror, and then where the secondary mirror goes, you can put a camera here instead of that other mirror.
That is
Like
so cool. And
telescopes are just insanely simple.
When I looked at this thing, I thought this must cost about $20,000. Like this is like from NASA. This is, I mean,
No.
it's still an investment, sure, but it's a lot more acquirable than I would
Yeah.
have thought it to be. Thought maybe you rented it out for an even higher price than $600 kind of thing.
No, yeah, I think now they're closer to 800, but
Still not exactly
Oh.
20,000.
Elliot's talking. Are you talking Hyperstar? well, hyperstar is for a Schmidt-Cassegrain design, and so that's what converts the Schmidt-Cassegrain to just. Yeah, you feel free to hang out and just answering this this question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so a Schmidt-Cassegrain design is like it's the equivalent of a really long telescope, but they use a series of mirrors and corrector plates to sort of squish all the optics down
Wow.
into a small shape. And so there's a special lens you can put out where it has a secondary mirror like this, and you can unscrew it, and then you can put a camera here, and it takes super wide field
Wide
image. So instead of zooming in like this, yeah. But the advantage is it's what's called fast in photography. So like in astrophotography, you might spend an hour gathering data on like a galaxy, and gathering data means just taking the picture. But that could do it in like 2 minutes or 5 minutes, just because it's by putting it here. Yeah.
And I'm sure you have just been following the David Webb telescope.
Oh, James Webb. Yeah,
the James Webb.
yeah. The instrumentation was one of the main instruments was designed here in Halifax.
You don't say. And they got like the gold-plated mirrors and stuff, and like I don't know what kind of benefit that adds, but like that thing, the way they talk about it is like a new invention that will allow us to see farther into space than we've ever seen before. I mean, that's just such an exciting prospect.
Yeah, it's something like 100 times more powerful than Hubble.
And Hubble was game changing. Hubble was a historic piece of equipment too.
Yeah, it's wild.
Oh my God, the world of space is so exciting. I followed it so much. Back in like 2015 was a really big year too, when they got those first pictures of Pluto and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that was insane.
That was really amazing, and I can't wait to see what happens next, eh? But man, what was your name, sir?
Oh, John. So this
John?
is for the Learn to Stargaze YouTube channel.
Oh, cool. Learn to Stargaze. Yeah, I'll add you up, man, because I want to follow what you're doing. And is it two or like the number 2?
It's T-O.
T-O. Learn to Stargaze.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, and your name?
Chris.
Chris? Shiha? All right, well,
With a B at the end.
okay. Well, we'll see you around.
Man, thanks. This was so much fun.
Absolutely.
How informative, and just a cool thing to run into walking on the street, man.
Yeah, definitely check out the video and comment so
A
that,
little highlight of my day, man. Yeah, like a
Yeah.
little comment and be like, hey, like I met him. I met him.
I'm on the video. You're at minute 27.
Man, that's awesome.
We're done, dude.
Yeah,
Ciao.
have a great night.
Well, that was great. All the neighbors stopping by. So we live right beside Dalhousie University, and so we get all the students walking down the street, and a lot of them are always so fascinated when I have the telescopes out, but I'm usually not doing live streams. I'm just hanging out, taking a picture, and so that was fun. Do you have a wedge? No, I don't use a wedge. I don't use a wedge just because, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I have separate gear for astrophotography. I'm really starting to think of astrophotography and stargazing as completely different hobbies. So when you put a camera on a telescope, that it's not easy. It's 100 times more challenging to get a photo of what you're looking at with your eyes than it is to just see it with your eyes. And so definitely have completely different gear for astrophotography than visual astronomy. So for visual, I'll just use a telescope that's appropriate for what I'm looking at. So if it's planets or the moon, usually it's an SCT telescope or this dobsonian. And, someone else coming? Nope. Yeah, and then for astrophotography, you choose a telescope with a field that captures the object you're trying to capture. So last night it was, or the night before last, it was the Sol Nebula. And yeah, so that focal length is, that focal length is 270, I think. And so super wide. But if you're taking a picture of a galaxy, you want something really long, so like 2,000 millimeter focal length for a galaxy. So you'd get that with an SCT telescope. But if you're a beginner astrophotographer, then usually you would start with something really fast, so like an f5 telescope, refractor, so you don't need to deal with collimation or coma correctors or anything. And then you're going to, focal lengths, below 600. And you also really need what's called triplet optics or apochromatic refractors. Sorry, just reading the comments here. You'll be out observing later. That's Dave. Dave the 13th. So there's an astronomy club just for people named Dave. I don't know how many Daves are on will watch this video, but yeah. So there's an astronomy club for people just named Dave, and you get assigned a number, and there's a quiz, and then you become members of the Royal Astronomical Society of Daves. It's a very elite group of astronomers, and I don't know if you have to, Dave. Do you have to be live? You know, at maybe, I guess Nova East Star Party is where most of the initiations into the Royal Astronomical Society of Dave come from. But I don't know if you could do a remote over Zoom. They'd add you to the webpage. I don't know. Yeah, so astrophotography. Yeah, so when you're starting, you definitely want a nice equatorial mount. You know, not one of the ones that comes on a $100 telescope. I started with a Celestron AVX that I bought used for about $500. And then I started with a Explore Scientific 102 millimeter, that carbon fiber one, which was about $1,200 at the time. So astrophotography telescopes are definitely, you know, about 5 times more expensive for the same aperture as one for visual observing. Because if you try to use a regular telescope, it won't work for a number of reasons. So if you expose the stars for a long time using a cheap telescope, you'll get chromatic aberration. So half the star will be blue and half the star will be red, or they'll be bloated. So the stars will just look really big in your image. And so the triplet optics or apochromatic optics, they correct those aberrations. Just got my 2XP Barlow. It was sunny and no clouds. Got up and set up my telescope, and I see clouds now. Yeah, that's what happens every time you... what's your opinion on WO61? I don't know what WO61 is. Should I? Probably should. Yeah, every time you get new astronomy equipment, guaranteed clouds. So every time you post on the internet, oh, I got a new telescope, everyone goes, no. It's going to be rain. Oh, William Optics. Oh, William Optics, that's the Red Cat, right? Red Cat 61. Yeah, I've seen a lot of good stuff from that that telescope. I know Astro Backyard uses that as well. And he gets, I mean, everything he does is amazing. He is such a good astrophotographer. And although it's interesting, he recommends using Topaz denoise, which is about $70 for this, you know, one add-on to Photoshop. Anyway, I finally downloaded it as the trial version, and it's like magic. So you can take a bad astro photo of space and just use that software to denoise the heck out of it, and it looks a lot better. So it's really interesting. Really make your photos pop with just this one add-on to Photoshop called Topaz denoise. Yeah. What I find also interesting about Astro Backyard is it's always an adventure. So he's, you know, his video is called I Took a Photo of a Nebula. You know, all his YouTube videos start like that. And you really, until you watch the video, you don't know what he's going to photograph. You don't know what equipment he's going to use. And he doesn't really show you any of the how he does it. He just sort of takes you on the adventure. So he leaves out, I mean, he time lapses setting up the telescope and setting up the observatory and tells you what scope he's using. But, you know, I don't know, it's just cool. It's like astrophotography-tainment, which is really neat. And then he's got his, I have his book, effectively. He's got a book that's about $24, I think. And it's basically just a sort of a cheat sheet for Photoshop on how to make your photos look awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, what else is in his image that we can look at here before I go in? Because it is really cold. We've got, I think that's Sea of Tranquility. What eyepiece is good for looking at the Andromeda Galaxy? So the Andromeda Galaxy is huge. What eyepiece? Binoculars. Binoculars are the eyepiece to use for the Andromeda Galaxy. Andromeda Galaxy is huge. It's 6 times as big as wide as the moon in the sky. Okay. It's weird, as I go over here, Facebook, on this part of the moon where it's really bright, Facebook really fights me on the focus. Yeah, because it's usually pretty easy for me to pick out the spot where the Apollo 11 landing site, but it's kind of washed out here as I go over. As I go over it there. Of course, you can't see the lunar lander. Oh, that's the Messier crater right there. This is kind of a neat crater here. You can see the rays coming off it. Bounce around like crazy. Double crater. Whoop. Okay, if I center it right here, we're about centered on where Apollo 11 landed. But remember, every pixel here is a kilometer, approximately. So, yeah, so this is the Sea of Tranquility. And I think this right below it, I'm not sure why, they call that the Lunar Texas, down in Texas. Yeah. Theophilus and Katrina, and then the other one. I call these the Dumbbell craters. And then we've got a great view of the Serpentine Ridge here tonight, which is really neat down here. And I think that's, yeah, Silius. And then I think this is Poseidonus. I'm saying that wrong too. I know Dave knows all the correct pronunciations. And I got my hand on it, driving it around. That's why it's so bumpy. If I let go, it stables, gets nice and steady. Yeah, I love getting these questions from everyone. It makes it really easy for me to, keep going. And then the more questions I answer, the more people stay on. So it's definitely fun. I'm gonna put this glove on so I won't be able to pan around as much. But yeah, it's definitely fun answering questions. Astrophotography is what I tend to get about half the questions on that, but a lot of the time I'll deflect because, Learn to Stargaze is really supposed to be about visual astronomy. And so I'm making a video, or we shot it 3 or 4 weeks ago. We've got a video just called Starting from Scratch for Astrophotography. And it just basically, it's got a big disclaimer at the front that, stargazing is a hobby that, it's with you for life and, it's a joy, whatever. And then astrophotography is a way to drain your wallet. Oh, cool. Just reading the comment there about getting started with binocular astronomy. That's fantastic. Do you know about the Vaz Talarino Lunar Observatory? I don't. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to produce that video about just getting started in astrophotography and how I would do it. But there's a big warning because you'll start off with, putting a camera on a dobsonian, and then you realize you need an equatorial mount, and then you realize you need a better equatorial mount, then you realize you need, a better telescope, and then you realize you need a field flattener, and then, it just goes on and on and on. And so the video is like basically, hey, if you want to jump into this hobby, here's sort of the shortcut. Here's the shopping list of things that, get you a full rig to get those pictures that you would use as a background for your desktop on your computer. Anyway, how old were you when you got into stargazing? Honestly, 25. I had telescopes growing up. I like the Bushnell ones, really long tube ones, and I would just put the Barlow on, 3x Barlow and the 2mm eyepiece, and then I wouldn't see anything, or I'd see a blur and I'd be impressed with that. But that was as a kid, and so yeah, it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized that you could actually see cool things with telescopes and put together, you know. I mean, first I started with one I bought at the pharmacy for $13, and then I actually bought 3 of them because CVS let you super coupon, and so I got one for $5, and then we got another coupon off that, which was an extra 75% off. So we ended up getting a third telescope for 50 cents or 48 cents or something. And so I goofed around with those for, you know, a couple of months until I splurged on, I got the ETX 60, which is the backpack telescope, go-to scope. And that's when I saw my first deep sky objects. And then after that, I realized that, hey, with aperture comes, you know, you can see way more. And then I upgraded to this dobsonian. And this was my main scope. So I joined the astronomy club and I did a lot of outreach with this scope. So I would lug it up to the top of Mount Diablo. And this was when I was in California. So I was working as an accountant for the Clorox company. And yeah, anyway, sort of the backstory. What do you think about EV scope and Stellina telescopes? Yeah, I think they're cool. I think they're for a very different audience. So those telescopes don't have eyepieces. So they're not, you can't use them and call yourself, you know, you're not stargazing at all. It's sort of astrophotography, basically. So, how's it going?
What are you? Oh, whoa.
Yeah, come check it out. So I'm just live streaming to the Learn to Stargaze YouTube channel.
Holy smokes,
Oh, wow.
that's really cool.
And so that's just a live view of the moon right there. So
What the heck?
That's so
there's the
sick.
Dumbbell craters.
Wow. That's do you just own that microscope or telescope?
Telescope.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this is just a Dobsonian. If you look in, this is literally just, I paid $600 for this 10 years ago.
Wow.
So, because all a telescope is a meter in a tin can.
That's crazy. Do you
Yeah.
mind if I like take a photo of the
Yeah, absolutely.
setup?
We're looking at the moon. Come check it out. It's projected onto a screen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a nice night.
You too.
Remember when you did this last year on the corner there?
Yeah, was same scope? Yeah, so this is pretty much centered on where Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. So
Sea of Tranquility?
right here. Yeah, so that's the Sea of Tranquility here.
Yes.
And then so I use these craters here.
Yes.
And then so to make an L shape. So, and I don't know if we can zoom way in. We're just out of range. So the craters, there's little specks in here, and that would be Armstrong, Collins, and the
Collins was
Aldrin. Yeah,
Aldrin.
yeah. So they got 3 craters named after them, and they're only a couple.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They're a couple kilometers wide, so they're just like below the resolution. So each pixel here is about a kilometer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Each pixel. Okay.
So like that would be like a 50-kilometer crater, and
That's so
Yeah.
crazy cool.
yeah. So it's neat. This is one of the best nights to be able to look at things. I
Yeah,
call
'cause
these
it's
the
full,
dumbbell
right?
craters. There's a nice scarp right there,
Yeah.
Altai scarp, and then Sea of Crises. We go over here.
So maybe I could ask you,
Yeah.
the IR, the image conversion software used on James Webb, is
Yeah.
that proprietary or is that publicly available
I
to convert IR spectrum to visible?
don't know. I assume it's public. I mean, so the James Webb has, I think, 6 different main instruments. One of them's designed here. I don't know. So by Martin Zwicky
Yeah.
at St. Mary's. Do you know him?
I heard of them.
You've heard of him? Yeah. So,
Only because of
I guess-
James Webb.
well, and one of your neighbors is his boss.
Well, him too.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
the guy we know more is he was always on CTV News.
Thacker.
Thacker.
Yeah, Rob Thacker.
I wouldn't say we know him.
No, we don't know him,
We
but
know Mr. Sardi.
yeah, we know Sardi,
Yeah.
and we know like
Oh,
we.
there are such good professors. Like I mean, Sardi was one of the best physics professors in the country, and he got interviewed on CBC and riding around on his hoverboard and everything that he made with his leaf blower. Yeah,
That is really cool.
there's a sea of crises there. That
Yes.
yeah, when it gets really bright here, it really fights me on the focus. Yeah, you can see people commenting, helping each other out. Good community here on YouTube. Thanks, Elliot.
That is very cool.
Yeah,
So, would you have any idea what that is over there?
that's Jupiter.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we actually had Saturn come up for a second down there, and we could actually see the rings and Titan in this on the screen.
On
Yeah,
the screen. Oh, but it went below the horizon.
it did. Yeah, it set, and then so stuff is rising in the west and setting in the east. So Jupiter will have set in a little bit.
Yeah.
You guys want to see a live view of the moon?
Yes,
Yeah, check it out.
I'd love to.
So this is just streaming live on Learn to Stargaze, the YouTube channel,
Whoa.
and
That's crazy.
yeah. So so each pixel on this is about 1 kilometer in size, but right here, right in the center of the screen, is where Apollo 11 landed.
No way.
Yeah. So this is the Sea of Tranquility right here.
Was that a recent mission to the moon?
That was the original, the
That'd be the only
1969 one. Yeah. Yeah. So there were 6 where they landed,
Yeah.
and yeah. First mission to the moon was Apollo 8. They didn't land. That was in Christmas of 1968.
Wow, this is so.
This is I find this really pretty. It's a little out of focus here. That's the Marsh of Sleep, and just where this crater hit, and you can see how this ejecta went out this way, and then lava flowed that way.
That is very cool.
Yeah. Facebook likes to fight me on the focus here, but
So how close can you get on Mars?
on Mars, I mean Mars through this telescope would still be like you'd see the polar ice caps, and then a little
You
bit
can
of
see the ice caps.
yeah, and then discoloration in the soil.
So cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. That's
I
really,
like your puppy,
that's really fun.
Beauty.
That's really fun. Enjoy
Absolutely.
the-
All right, take care. Oh, no worries. Oh, it is very cold here. Here, I'll flip the camera around. You can see how cold it is. Actually, you can't see that on camera. I feel like I'm in a cloud of my own breath here. But anyway, yeah. Are you able to see the snow we have without me taking it off? Yeah, so there's what it looks like on the street. You can see how bright it is. Yeah. Whew. Okay. Now you can see my breath. Maybe it's even colder. Minus something. All right. Get it pointed back at the moon. All right. And then flip the camera, and then I should sign off in a minute here because it's probably time to put the kids to bed. Or is it? No, it's early. We had an early dinner tonight. I cooked a leg of lamb. It was really jonesing for something fancy. So, and it was up to temp pretty early, so we had an early dinner. Yeah, the 4SE that is a great telescope. It's I believe it's Muscatov Cassegrain. And it's kind of neat because they say those have pixie dust. So you can, I have a little C90, which is same type. And, seeing galaxies with that little scope from the city, it's been just, I guess the contrast is just really good. That's what does it. Okay, and we're centered on Gutenberg there. Yeah, so you're mentioning you can't see Polaris, but you still need to polar align the scopes. That's why I really like. There's a couple ways to do it to polar align if you're doing astrophotography without being able to see the North Star. I'm lucky that the ASI Air, which is the little red box that you see on people's telescopes, they're doing imaging. It'll figure it out without having to have it point it at the North Star. And then the mounts, go-to mounts also have a feature. Actually, Dave Chapman, who I think might still be on here, showed me how to do it, and it's kind of neat. So you basically just find a star that's, not the North Star, halfway between the horizon and the zenith, and the scope you'll point at it, it'll slew away, and then you'll wheel this telescope back to the star, and after you're done getting at that star, you'll be polar aligned. Yep, I think I just saw someone mention these 3 craters here. Yeah, if anyone wants to, it just has binoculars, they want to explore the moon, you can actually get a certificate for it from the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. So there's, I forget how many targets, it's less than 50. It's the lunar seas and Tycho and some of the other bright craters, probably Plato, Sinus Iridum, stuff like that. But you see all those, and then you can get a certificate. You have to be a member of the Astronomical Society of Canada, and anyone in the world can join. I know Lisa and Rob Fanning are members, which I think is about 60 Canadian dollars a year, so about 50 US dollars, something like that. Then you can join a club and listen in on all their meetings, and then start doing the observing programs, and they'll send you pins and all sorts of stuff. And you also get, every year, you get a copy of the Observer's Handbook, which is basically, very specifically everything that is happening in the sky for that entire year. So it includes occultations. So like every time a star goes behind an asteroid or something like that, it'll be in that book. So just literally everything, which is almost worth the membership right there. Oh, and you get a subscription to Sky News Magazine. I had the big counterweight arm that hooked the binoculars up as well. It's pretty cool. Okay, but it is freezing cold. I'm going to sign off. This was almost an hour. I did not expect to be out here that long. This was absolutely fantastic. And it was really definitely cool to have, 10 people or so. What's my favorite crater? I'll answer a couple more questions. Get your questions in before we go. Yeah, favorite crater? I don't know. I like the Dumbbell craters right here. I like Gutenberg right there. I like I almost want to say Poseidon. Posidonius right there is my favorite. Is a favorite. I think Marsh of Sleep is really pretty, which is right there. There's the Gang of Four right here. They're kind of dim this day. Those are some of my favorites. Someone else asked what telescope. This is a 12-inch dobsonian, and made by Zummel. So great little scope, big scope. Yeah. Any more questions before I sign off? These are great. Yeah. Absolutely. It's definitely fun. Okay. Signing off.